shit soft because you press the shit too hard. It's going over the fucking head.
Listen. All right. So somehow I misplaced the second mic. I don't know how that happened, but today we get to podcast with one mic. We'll see how things go. I think it should be fine.
Nah, this shit is crazy. But anyway, we're coming to you live, large and in charge. If you haven't noticed, we're looking pretty fucking big right now. That's because we hit the gym. Pause. That's because we hit the gym yesterday. What was it yesterday? Day before yesterday. And we went to yoga this morning and did some yoga shit. And I'm not gonna lie, I respect all the people who do yoga. It's not a joke. It is not for play. It's real deal, Holyfield. So respect to people that do yoga. That's all I wanted to say. And we're coming to you live from another undisclosed location. You know?
See, that's what I'm talking about. Yoga was real today, man. We were sweating our asses off. Mobility was not there, but the determination definitely was. Let's just say though, there was some weird shit going on in there.
Oh yeah.
They started metaphorically chopping wood, which, listen, where I'm from, we actually chop wood. So I was like, this is kind of funny. Y'all white people just doing this for fun. We actually do.
And making very odd sounds as well.
Make the sounds, guys!
Yeah, I'm not making a sound.
Ain't making no damn sounds. But anyways, on to today's podcast topic. It is wonderful to see y'all. It is beautiful, sunny, 100 degrees, and we are sitting in direct sunlight because that is how we operate, because we are G's. Austin, this is podcast episode 25, if I'm not mistaken. What are we talking about today?
So honestly, this is like, have you ever seen J. Cole at a Hot 97 on the radio station just do a freestyle and come off the top of the dome and just, make some shit happen from nothing? That's what we're doing today, right? We're coming to you live and we're making some shit shake out of no shit. And not saying we didn't have shit because we always have shit, but we're freestyling today because that's just the vibe that we're on. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about today, we have been seeing a multitude of perceived signs. And as we were coming up here to wherever the fuck we're at to do this podcast, we saw a Rolls Royce Cullinan, right? And this one was white. And earlier this week, Jose saw another one, and it was black, right?
On the same street.
On the same street?
On the same street. It's just it was up the block from where we are right now.
Well, there you go. So we're seeing this, and right now, I wouldn't say we're at rock bottom, but we are definitely at a stalemate as far as we're right before the point of where we strike gold. And this is where most people turn around, right? And we're being fully transparent and honest with you right now. We've done well, but we're not to the point to where we know that we can be as far as bringing in the amount of capital that we know that we can. So seeing these signs, seeing these Rolls Royces, seeing these things are things that keep us going, because every time that we see this, he sends it or we see it together and we're like, damn, in due time. You almost have to speak the shit into existence. Like, of course, I'm not saying that you're God or whatever, but you have to kind of take that same mentality of being able to speak things into existence and making them happen because you said that you're going to make them happen. And seeing these vehicles, seeing these luxury ticket items, for us, is not a sign to be like, damn, we're so far. It's a sign that basically saying, hey, we can get that. We're close. We just need to keep going.
Well, on top of that, which I think after like 5 minutes of being in the sun, we should move because our camera setup might overheat.
Yeah.
Because it's in direct sunlight. But on top of that, not only let's run it through. So it's a Rolls Royce Cullinan. Cullinan.
Cullinan.
So Rolls Royce Cullinan.
Something like that.
That's what we'll say. This one is white. Austin is wearing white. The one I saw on Wednesday was black. And I'm wearing black today. They were on the same street. I saw the first one while I was driving, stopped at a light, and I took a picture and sent it to Austin. And this one is on the exact same street, just further south. So there are a lot of coincidences per se, but we always talk about essentially yin and yang and the polarity, positive, negative. We talk about these things all the time. Well, these cars are black and white. Not only that, I personally have never seen a Rolls Royce in my life that's not a classic. So seeing two in 1 week is stupendous, I would say. Stupidly stupendous. But it's too hard to say coincidence. It's almost like Austin was saying, it's an indicator of something more, something greater, something of what is to come. And let's be honest, even if that's a misinterpretation of what it is, I would prefer to misinterpret something and have it portrayed as a positive, which impacts my day-to-day and mental state and all the things that come and follow in a positive way, and be incorrect, then be correct and not have all this positive potentiation that would translate into everything in my day, which is also translating into the people I care for and the people I'm around.
That is a great point. So, yes. So, got you. We're gonna be walking and talking today. Anyway, and you see the legs, you know, the leg gains.
Oh yeah, y'all never seen the full portfolio,
right?
Yeah.
Check it out.
Give you a little lean. You can see the arms.
Yeah. Anyway, so again, we're going to be walking and talking. But basically, stay focused on me. We're moving over here. So, a point that Jose made that I really, really like is that he said, even if it's a misinterpretation of what we're seeing and what we're experiencing, who the fuck cares, to be honest with you? Because it's not really sometimes about what the fuck is going on in actuality. Sometimes it's about how you perceive things. The world is really about how you perceive it. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, all based on how you perceive it. So if you're struggling, or if you're in a down moment in your life or whatnot, and you see it as a learning opportunity, because we've talked about this in previous pods, if you see it as a learning opportunity instead, you can only go up from that point. However, if you say, hey, look, my life fucking sucks right now, I hate this shit, I can't fucking do anything, you're going to stay in that shitty ass position that you're in. So, right now, we're choosing to view this as a sign to keep going. And if you have that mentality, in my opinion, you're only going to push yourself towards success, because you're choosing to make lemonade out of lemons. You know, you're choosing to view life as your oyster. And if that helps us move towards our goals and have the motivation and the confidence and the wherewithal to move towards our goals, then that's what we're going to fucking do. And personally, I don't view it as a misinterpretation. I view it as something that's very, very real. But even if it is, you know, we're still going to take that as a sign to be positive and move forward.
I hope y'all like that transition. That was not easy, but we made it happen, because that's how we operate. That's the thing. Life ain't about what's easy. It's about what has fucking value. See, honestly, I feel like this is just a rant, this podcast, which is a good thing.
Every now and then we're going to have rant casts.
You know, it's crazy. Your shirt's not just white. It's white and black.
That is true.
It's white with black stitches. I like it. But listen, hear me out real quick. Not everything is going to go your way. But everything that happens is your responsibility. So if Austin and I go to Hawaii and a meteor hits the plane that Austin's on, because for some reason we're on a different plane. Yeah, I know, it's a crazy reference or analogy. I would say to a degree forget to a degree, I'd say that's my responsibility, because I was traveling with Austin and I didn't make sure that a meteorite was not going to hit his fucking plane, because there's a potential and there's a way to at least check that out. Now, same thing applies. if you find yourself up shit creek without a paddle, you're fucked. So saying I'm fucked and then not doing anything about it gets you nowhere. You have to say, look, I'm fucked. How do I unfuck myself? And unless unless you have the mentality that's like, listen, I'm fucked. How do I unfuck myself? If you're playing victim, you won't understand that there is a level that you have to elevate to proceed and move forward. It's how Austin says knowing when to give a fuck, but it's also one thing that we also recently referenced, which is I will versus I should. And I should is sort of a victim mentality, and I will is understanding that, hey, I will achieve this, I will accomplish this, I will overcome this, I will triumph here. It's a small little thing that I am responsible for, that I have to enact. Yes, I should be skinnier, but I'm not. That's my fault. Even if I have some kind of condition, it's like there's a way that I could adapt and evolve to overcome that or work with it. And that's my responsibility and mine alone. So don't be a bitch.
All right, well, you know what? Let's see. What can I rant about real quick, since this is really a rant cast, at this point. I got it. So, and I don't know if it's really a rant, but it's more so just a realization, right? So as a people, as men and women, and, however you'd like to identify yourself, we have to realize that we're not the same. I'm sorry. We're not. We go through life differently. Certain things happen to, one group of people that may not happen to another. Certain people feel things differently and, go through life and viewing life differently. That's just how it is. So whenever you're dealing with anybody, whether it be in a friendship, relationship, business aspect or whatever, you have to realize that your viewpoint from how you see things is going to be different than theirs. How Jose and I deal with pain and deal with frustration and bullshit might be different than everyone else because of how we got brought up and also the shit that we went through in life. So everyone can't easily assimilate to being and acting like you or acting like us or whatever. If you view whoever as a role model and you try to carbon copy everything that they do, it may not work for you. You know why? Because your background was not the same. Your childhood trauma that you went through and whatnot may not be the same. So you can't just easily just copy and paste their personality and themselves onto you. So when you're maneuvering through life, you have to realize, bro, or girl, or, again, brodette, you have to realize that shit is not the same. Step into somebody else's shoes and try to make people understand or make yourself understand how life is for that person, how people see things. Because I may see things like this and say, hey, look, this table, this little piece of the table right here, it's black. However, other people might
I didn't know to do that.
Who knows? Anyway, we'll see. So if I put these on, the way I view the world, the color might look different. It might be a slightly red tint, Different lens. People are seeing things through different lenses. Jose right now, his lens changed. As he went outside, it changed to darker to deal with the level of sunlight coming in. How you see things in the world, how you perceive things is going to be different than other people. So you can't initially go into something saying, I'm going to force somebody to understand or be upset that they don't understand. People aren't you, and you aren't people. So I wouldn't say empathize, maybe more sympathize, I guess, with people.
Sympathize and synchronize.
Sympathize and synchronize with people and help them understand why you see things how you do, so they can also do the same for you. And who knows whether this is the right way to view things with these glasses or without them is the right way to view things. Having that discussion and conversation with people to understand will allow you to better make sure or make that decision for yourself of what is better for you. And that's what I wanted to talk about just briefly.
I'm gonna let y'all in. That's actually kind of personal in a good way. That we just talked about that. That was my consultation with Austin, and Austin essentially just reformulated what he told me in a more eloquent manner. So that's to show y'all. And the reason I share that is because, again, we don't just practice what we preach what we practice. So we act out and we show y'all exactly what is going through our life and what's going through our minds and what's close to home, because that's, in life, authenticity is a very lost art. We're not talking about the art of war. We're not talking about the art of politics. We're talking about just life in general. Authenticity is what's going to take you to the next level. So good shit, Austin. On that same tangent, though, synchronizing and sympathizing, or sympathizing and synchronizing with other people, I want to talk a little bit about the laws of human nature and the importance of that. And this actually is very, very true. I'll get a little personal here, right? So this weekend, there was an instance where I realized my age. And when I mean I realized my age, I don't mean the number. I mean I realized what being my age truly meant. I realized the room that I was in, what position I held given my age, what position I held given my background, what position I held given my occupation, what position I held given my mindset, my masculinity, my energy. And it all just clicked. And when I realized that, I understood how exactly I needed to synchronize and sympathize with the group of individuals I was with. And that allowed me to, A, gain a better understanding of what they needed, B, have better control to guide the direction of that group, and C, also actuate the highest level of potential that I had to contribute to that group. And so when Austin talks about sympathizing for people, what he essentially means is aligning your frequency to their understanding. So it's like putting a key in place. Once you understand exactly what they're thinking, how they're feeling, or their perspective, then you're locked into their mindset. And now you can behave accordingly. You can help them, you can guide them, you can show them the way, or you can, if it's an argument, you have a potential to understand their argument, support it, or refute it from a better, more controlled manner. Because like we like to say, in strategy, well, in life as in war, the strategist always beats the tactician. So now that you have an understanding, you can strategize, you can approach a problem more thoroughly, you can provide a solution, or you can just demolish your enemy. It's a lot of things. And Austin really wants to talk, so I'm passing the mic.
I just want to add on to what you're saying, because I was talking to this person recently, and they said that due to, and again, this goes back to childhood trauma, due to a certain way that a certain type of person treated them when they were younger, it affected how they viewed people like that up until this point, basically. Up until this point. So, but from the outside looking in, people that don't know that just view that as like, oh, you just don't like this, or you just an asshole because you don't like this. However, you don't know the history behind it. You're not viewing the world through the lenses that they're viewing it through, And sometimes people don't even realize that they're viewing shit through rose-colored lenses. They don't. So sometimes it takes somebody to point it out, or a therapist to point it out, or teach them how to take those glasses or lenses off and whatnot. But just something like that, where, where somebody is going through life and has a way that they're viewing the world and showing, or not necessarily saying that they have this, particular, I don't want to call it, what's the word? I wouldn't say condition. Kind of bias. Yes. So that they have this bias or whatnot. Realizing where shit comes from can help you move forward with people and help them progress as well. So this goes back to a book that I also very love. It's called Start With Why. If you, yes, so if you fucking go through life just seeing shit at face value, you're not really going to get to the true understanding of a person or the true reason why people are doing what they're doing. You know, again, whether that's in relationships, friendships, or business. So whenever that you're having conversations with people, hopefully you are having conversations with people and getting out your house and not being a fucking hermit.
Yeah.
So,
I almost said garden.
but yeah, but as long as you're not being a hermit and you're having a conversation with people, start with why. If somebody says something to you and they have a particular viewpoint or stance on life or on a particular subject, ask them why that is. And you might have to ask them more than once. If you say why and they say a surface level answer, say, I understand that, but what, like, really why? What's the deeper reasoning why that happened? What made you start that way of thinking or see things that way? What's the real reason why? And of course, if they are very hesitant and don't want to pry or don't want you to pry too much, you might have to stop it there. But even that simple asking of a deeper reason for why probes them to think within themselves, well, what is the real reason why? Because it's not like that just came out of nowhere. What started? What happened to me? What happened against me? What happened for me? Whatever that made me start thinking this way or seeing things this way. So start with why. Great book. And also in every conversation that you have, start there and really get to know somebody. That way that you can put yourself in their shoes or behind their glasses, behind their lens, to where you can see life through their way of living. That way you can better know that person, better understand that person, and be able to move forward with that person a lot more smooth compared to if you didn't fucking, ask why. If you didn't really find the real reason why people do what they do and how, they came to the point to where they are in life right now.
What's that quote about not if you don't know, it's like to understand this, you must first know thyself.
That last line, I know that.
I don't know the first part, but I think it's to understand the world, you must first know thyself.
Yeah.
Something around those lines. Please.
To begin to understand the world, you first have to learn how to understand yourself, basically.
Something like that. If y'all know, please leave it in the comment section below. We would appreciate the proper, we'll say, quotation.
Yeah.
But essentially that quote is summarizes what Austin's talking about, but also it adds the idea of introspection. So, and Jordan Peterson talks about it in his book, 12 Rules for Life. He says, before you criticize somebody else's houses, make sure that yours is in order. Right. And it's the same thing. If you can't understand yourself, you can't possibly expect to thoroughly understand somebody else. Right. So in starting with why, you need to start with your why first. And that requires a degree of introspection. And as I've said before, and I will say it as many times as necessary, even beyond that, because that's just who I am, it is an utter shame and it is absolutely unacceptable to not take the time to understand yourself, your childhood trauma, what you've been through, what makes you tick, also what pisses you the fuck off. Because then you cannot control yourself properly in various situations. And not only that, by failing to understand yourself, you fail in the capacity to understand others. Plain and simple. It's like saying, I can't do algebra, so now I'm going to go take algebra 2 and succeed. No. It's in calculus. If you don't know how to do integrals, you might as well just dig your own grave, because you can't go further than that.
I heard somebody say, it's like, when you're on a plane and they say you have to put your mask on first in case of an emergency, as opposed to putting,
even for your parents, or
yeah,
your kids, yeah.
You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of somebody else.
That's a good analogy. That's a shout out to the airlines for giving us messages for life.
Yes.
Demystifying the messages, Austin. Finding the meaning. Maps to meaning. Shout out to Jordan Peterson again. But no, man, it's just take the fucking time, sit your ass down with a notebook, get a wonderful cup of coffee, and just write some shit down. Try to understand yourself, because if you understand yourself, you move and you operate differently. You can maximize and leverage your abilities, and you can strengthen your weaknesses. And you can also find somebody who complements you, whether that be in friendships or relationships. And then you're lean and you're true. And when I say you're lean, is in you don't have any bullshit to work through. And you're true because you're congruent with who you are and you understand who you are and you move accordingly. And that is how you put yourself in a good position to help others, to be there for others, or to fight others, depending on the circumstance. Because you move different when you move with purpose. And for anybody who knows us and who has watched us through our journey thus far, can tell you when we made that switch. And obviously, Austin and I didn't make the switch at the exact same time, in close proximity though. But the point is, you can see a very, very clear transition, and that is proof of concept. If you need it, just let us know. Anything else, my brother?
I think you said it well. You said it well, my brother.
And with that, y'all, thank you for tuning in. If you got some value from this podcast, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you don't, please leave a very aggressive comment and a dislike button, because that gives me fuel. And if you give me fuel, I will burn it effectively, efficiently, explosively, elusively, eccentrically, electrically, eclectically, majestically, objectively.
Ooh. Contextually.
And that's facts. The AM Club Podcast. Out.